Hello, everyone. This is episode 53 of the Dressed in Files podcast. It's our third time doing the Halloween theme, so if we have to reach for some topics, you'll kind of notice it a little bit. Just kind of ran out of some stuff, but I'm joined today by Colin, just because he wanted to do some fun stuff. And Justin, how are you doing, Justin?
My name is Sue, and I want you to respect my life choices.
By the way, you should really watch the video of this episode. It's going to be great. So, Sue, how are you doing? How's the afterlife treating you?
Oh, fine. I mean, a couple years ago, I got a nice snack, and then it's been rest since then. So, can't have excitement every day.
Yeah, how did that snack treat you, though? Because it looked kind of decomposed.
Well, yeah, but I mean, takes one to know one. You are what you eat.
I suppose that's true.
Yeah.
Should be fine for you then. Okay. All right. So, it's Halloween, and we're going to do some masking talk. Well, mostly we're going to use the word mask to talk about Masquerade and Bianca's party. Because they wore masks there, or mostly Bianca just wore a dress of fire, but okay. And whatever that might tell us about Mirror Mirror, it's like hardcore Mirror speculation. So Justin, or I'm sorry, Sue. You're all excited.
First, I got to ask, who wore it better, Katniss Everdeen or Bianca? I mean, seriously. I forget her name, too. They address her by full name at least once. But anyway.
So, yeah. Bianca.
Right. So anyway, Bianca, Masquerade, all that fun stuff. Cheesy vampire, which, by the way, started watching Stranger Things, and that was my favorite part. It was he's dressed as a cheesy vampire. Anyway.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I recently watched Young Frankenstein for the first time.
Nice.
For the first time?
For the first time, and didn't even know it was existing. But then, I almost hit myself into unconsciousness when there was the werewolf, their castles. Oh my God.
Yes. So Butcher's a nerd, and there are a lot of references, and even I don't always catch them. And the ones that are my favorite are the ones where I'm like, wait a minute, that was so subtle. Did he make a reference? Because the whole I definitely caught the special hell in Cold Days, right? But there were a couple other things where I was like, wait a minute, that was so subtle. I can't tell if that was just a coincidence or an actual reference.
Yeah. Well, I particularly like that Igor character because he felt just like Bob. Bob's awesome.
Nice.
Oh, that whole movie.
Good. But
I love Gene Wilder.
Yeah. Back to Bianca, I guess. Or this masquerade party. It's can you think of other people? So we've got the big people that were dressed up.
Right.
And so there's Bianca as just a torch. The Roman centurion that was Ferrovax.
Right. Nobody cares about him, so.
Oh, yeah, he's just pointless. And then Mavra was Hamlet. Why did you choose Hamlet? I don't know enough about Shakespeare, but I figure there's got to have been a point.
Yeah. Like Ferrovax, they cheat. She probably had that laying around for the last 600 years. And it's well, shit, I mean, I haven't dressed as that every year for the last 600 years. So, or she just wore her regular clothes. So.
I thought she usually wears a dress, in Deadbeat, she shows up in this medieval looking dress instead of the Hamlet look.
I was going to say it's kind of hard to tell what she regularly wears because we've only seen her 3 times and only 2 of those were definitely her. So.
Well, what was she wearing in Blood Rights? Oh, supposedly what was she wearing in Blood Lights when she got torched?
I thought it was the same kind of outfit.
Wasn't it the Hamlet outfit though? And that's why oh, she was wearing the same stuff. Okay.
Right. Which is part of why Dresden was oh, it's totally her. They all look the same. And
they don't change their clothes for an entire year.
Right. Well, dude, seriously, bits of her are falling off. Are you really worried about the laundry at that point?
No, but I guess I figure she would. It's just
No. I mean, so you're hoping red court or white court then if you get turned because fashion still is going to matter to you when you've been dead for 600 years.
I guess I just don't like the idea of bits falling off and just mostly grossed out by the way that the hair is constantly breaking whenever she moves and can't seem to regenerate in any way. It's like,
So you're
ugh.
swept out by the unnatural corpse. I think you're in
Love
the right
it.
space for that. So, yeah.
Probably a good thing to be creeped out by.
I mean,
Right.
if I had to choose a vampire type, yeah, I'd probably go with one of the other ones.
Right. For sure.
Granted, still don't know what Jade Court is. So,
I bet they're at least as horrifying, if not more horrifying, than the Black Court. That's my vote. So, because
Maybe.
it's a toss up between, are we just dealing with the demon type thing, so you're more White Court in that they feed off of spiritual energy directly, but at best you're looking at something along the lines of Lopan, and then on the worst side they're like hovering, hopping, entrail pouring out of their bodies like no legs and just way gross. So even the Black Court has got style on that.
yeah, the White Court certainly do get more benefits in terms of style.
You know, I haven't done anything in the last 65 million years. I got nothing to do for the next 65 million years. I should see China.
Yes, you should. They'll probably worship you like a god,
That would be cool.
right?
Be like Rampage.
Mm-hmm. You could try their nice cuisine, and hopefully that won't make you sick. I heard they get really spicy over there.
The people?
Well, the peppers. The peppers might be on the people.
Man, I would like a people hold the peppers.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
You're easily
so-
entertained with stupidity.
So Mavra, Faravax, Bianca, the one that still gets people, and like even in the last week or two, I've seen people be surprised about it. So spoilers. But Cal and Kumori are there, and we mostly know that through word of Jim, not like they're named, right? They're just attendants in grave peril.
Well,
But he kind of retconned it to them.
So, yeah, they're just attendants in grave peril. There's two cloaked people, and they're handing out the gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them, at least the ones that seemed a little significant, maybe. And then
Right.
Harry says, that was you two in Deadbeat.
Ah, okay. Okay, so it is straight up canon then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, at least according to Harry's memory, which we have to hope is at least accurate.
I mean, look, of all the jokes we've had about you two look alike, really one cloaked figure is as good as another. Like, how can you tell a Sith next to a Nazgul, really? Next to Cal and Kumori.
Yeah.
Like, just stand there and don't say anything. Look menacing. No, really, menacing.
And have your weird voice going.
Well, that would definitely throw it. Because, like, you could tell the shriek versus the raspy Cal voice versus who was the other one? The Sith, yeah, the glowing red eyes or whatever.
Yeah, the Sith don't seem to have weird voices, so they kind of stand out.
They're just angry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got Cal and Kumori. Then, of course, Fairy Godmother was there.
And she wasn't dressed as anything. I'm kind of disappointed. I was like, I want to know what she would dress up as. Especially since
Would
she did.
dress up?
Well, she did the costume changes on Harry. It's like, oh, you can look at like everything, and then eventually Conquistador, because that would really get that woman's goat. But it's like, if she can do things like that, then why didn't she do it to her? She's just always in the same thing, I think, of green dress, nipples.
Vaguely.
Kind of her thing.
Yeah.
It is her
Right.
thing. But like, I don't know, she could have done a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
It was a masquerade party, and she went as herself. At least Cal and Komori were still in their, cowled aspects,
Mm.
So
like
they went
hiding
as
themselves.
Maybe she went as the psychotic murder fairy. She was very convincing.
That's still just herself.
Or, I get it. No, she went dressed as Summer because she actually mostly just helped that whole time, right?
Mhm.
Like, she took things from Susan, gave things to Harry. She was like, oh, everything's happy, and then I'm going to save you. So that's what she went. She went as the good fairy godmother. True story.
What I really want to know about what Leah did at the party is that she spoke to Thomas for a little while,
Uh-huh.
and she kissed his neck, and it left a burn mark.
Mhm.
What the hell did she say to him? Why did she burn him like that?
these are all good questions that hopefully we'll find out in Mirror Mirror, at least, if not the BAT, because that's the next. Everything's going to happen.
Yeah, or peace talks.
We've
No.
got
Not that one.
4 or 5 more books before the BAT.
Thomas is going to be there laying in his deathbed in peace talks, and he's going to be like, Harry, I haven't told you yet, but Leah said, blah. Be like all his unresolved bullshit that he's like, I haven't done blah, 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 and the 18 other things. Yeah, no.
But just when they found Leah in Small Favor as a she-sickle, she knew all about Thomas, which makes sense, I guess, because of her relationship with Margaret. But did Thomas know that Leah was Harry's godmother? How much does Thomas know about her connection to Margaret?
That's a fair question.
Why would she kiss him like that in order to cause pain?
Yeah, well, the real question is, you got to ask yourself, was it pain because of her power, or was it pain because she loved somebody?
Is someone Leah is really the force of nature type of person. She seems more nature than person sometimes.
She's a she.
So is it possible for her to be in love?
Also good questions. So other people that were at the party, no. Like we could definitely get lost in the crazy fan theories around that line of thought. That's for sure.
So do you think Farovax decided to be a Roman centurion because all that armor is just so glittery and pretty?
He probably took that armor himself.
I mean, I think he did, but like, if he has to wear something, it might as well be something that's generally shiny, I figure.
Well, then why didn't he dress up as like ancient Egyptian or like Aztec himself, right? Just like, I've got gold everything.
I mean, ancient Egyptian is always fun. It's always cool looking.
Right. He could have had the big wolf head thing, cat head thing.
Or just, tons and tons of gold and like all the crazy makeup that they do and look not like a person. It's like, yeah, it's fun.
Right.
He could have also probably been the very shiny dragon he is. I assume that they're shiny.
Except that his weight would have cracked the earth. So,
maybe.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, he says so.
I'm sure he could have done something to offset that. Because he's like, if he can just look at Dresden and cause him tons of pain through sheer force of will, he might be able to like will himself a little bit lighter, right?
Well, yeah, maybe, but what's the fun in that? When you're big, you got to own it.
Okay, I get it. Jeez, keep the teeth away from me.
Well, so I've been practicing with the kid, all right?
Excuse me.
I broke the show. So
terrifying.
I think it's a fair question. Like, why is he a centurion? And I don't. Well, they might mention the sword like one time, but the more important thing was the fact that you could tell he's a dragon because he's smoking without actually having lit the cigarette. So
I liked that detail. That was great.
Right. So he's a smoking centurion, right? Like.
Yeah, it does break the costume. I'm sure they had another thing or maybe they did or didn't have something to smoke, but hey, Colin, you know more about Rome than I do. Did they have anything to smoke?
Probably.
It seems universal, but I can't think of like, I don't think they had pipes or anything.
Things back then.
Right.
Okay. And anyone else you can think of that's all dressed up? The only other one else I can think is Susan. Not Sue, but Susan.
Right. So Harry's Scoobies, right? So this is the first time we meet Thomas and Justine, and he's dressed up kind of like a dewdrop fairy, and she's dressed up in nothing. I mean, I remember the pose afterwards, but she was flower petals, right?
Yeah, she just had petals taped to her.
Mm-hmm. Or affixed. Yeah,
that's one way of doing it.
Right. And then of course you have Michael in his very convincing Knight Templar costume.
Yeah, then there was the psychotic twins, Kyle and what's her face.
Right.
And She was in some form of a cat suit because she just gotten burned by sunlight. But what was she supposed to be?
I don't recall, actually. Like, I'm not sure Dresden cared, but maybe that's just me. I sometimes I'm driving and working during these things, so I blink out for little bits. But yeah, I don't remember, because his thing, like, I think I remember Kyle being in a cloak, but other than that, like, I don't remember either. So,
I mean, I like to think that Dresden ruined her night by getting her exposed to sunlight, and she was still recuperating, so she had to like go to the second best costume instead of the one that I'm sure she was working on for years.
well, yeah, I mean, everybody's like, well, it was a cat suit, but really, you got to think of it. It's latex body gloves, so she was probably covered in like Vaseline and not in the sexy way under that, right? Like to get all the moisture for the burns. She got burn cream all over her body. Bummer. So what happens when you're a dick to a wizard and then he like burns down an entire building?
Yeah. So was that building number 2 or 3 that he burned down?
Well, this is before Blood Rites, which is like the building was on fire and it wasn't my fault.
Yeah.
But technically, you could say this was probably number 2 because, I mean, they go in after Agatha Hagglethorn and burn down her whole...
Oh, no, it's probably number 3 then, because at the end of Stormfront, Victor's house burned down, and then if Agatha Hagglethorn's Never place, and that was burning because Chicago was burning. If he gets...
I thought it was his fault, but okay, that works.
I mean, I don't remember specifically whether he started the fire in the Never or it was just on fire because why not?
Well, but this is one of those flashbacks. So like they go into the Never and then it cuts back to a more different thing. Like I think it cuts back to some of the Kravos stuff or something like that. And then it cuts back again after the fight and Leah shows up. He's like, well, shit, you got here fast. And so it's another one of those chapters where like you miss all of the action. And then it's like in the Chicago area was burning all around them. But I do kind of like the whole like fire of Chicago because I think they reference that a couple of times.
Yeah.
So.
Well, so it depends on whether you want to lay the blame for that on his feet. And
I do, but your idea works too.
So, I mean, okay, if we count Agatha's place, then that's 2, and then he burns down the building with Kyle and Crazy Sister. What the hell was her name?
Kelly.
And Kelly.
Yeah.
Okay, Kyle and Kelly, because of course match.
Right.
It's just easier that way.
Yeah. And so that would be 3, and then Bianca's place would be number 4. And then what did he do in Death Masks? He didn't burn down anything in Death Mask. Other things got burned down around him. Right?
Sure.
I mean, it's just self-defense.
So that leads...
That building was asking for it, okay? Did you see how... Never mind.
Yeah. So that would be when it wasn't his fault. That would have been number 5 or something.
Something. I mean, and those are just the ones on screen. I mean, it's Harry, so...
So we don't get to see the ones like, oh, he went to Oklahoma. I'm sure a barn got burned down there.
Right.
Yeah. Insurance premiums fear him. It's the boogeyman for Halloween. I'm trying to be clever here.
You're doing a good job. Okay, so for the most part, I think that covers it, actually, for like the main players at the masquerade. And of course, we had Susan as Red Riding Hood, which
I thought was pretty good. Yeah, Red Riding Hood.
Right.
Especially her basket of goodies. She did go in prepared to the wolf in waiting.
Right.
It was a good thing.
So, do we want to use this to pivot into Mirror Mirror? Because I'm super excited.
So. Okay, go on.
So,
I see the gigantic dinosaur tail wagging.
Woof. So I don't know. I still feel like the jury's out on this a little bit, right? And but I feel like there's a lot of people that when I come across this in the Reddit or the Discord servers or stuff like that, that it's like a huge mystery. Okay. And I think the majority consensus mostly goes back to, whether or not he chooses Susan at the end, right? Where Ortega basically gives him an ultimatum and says, like, look, you could walk away from this, just give us the girl, that sort of thing. right? Like all can be forgiven, and they're just kind of like laying it on thick with Harry, where it's like, so we're going to literally give you everything. The only thing you can't have is Susan. Mm-hmm. That, of course, makes a huge amount of sense, right? But one of the other things that I thought wasn't the very end, but could have made an interesting thing, and almost worse in some ways, without necessarily, because like basically if he accepts the Red Court's offer, I kind of imagine that that's going to turn him to the Red Court, and then, you know, he's going to be like Count Dresden, right? The other one where he could be just cool. Like, right, where he could be just like Darth Dresden or just like a darker wizard type of thing, is there's a moment that he has to decide, because they have the sword and they have the girl, and Mavra's about to unmake the sword, and Michael's like, this isn't going to happen. You know, whatever you do, I can't sit here and wait for this to be a thing. And Harry uses earth magic to get it away from Mavra. But if he just did nothing, you know, Michael would have gone up there, probably been eaten. Everybody else would have had dessert and then gone home, you know, theoretically. So I thought that was kind of interesting, because I'm like, that's also kind of a big pivotal point.
It is a possibility, but because of how much stuff happens in Grave Peril, that moment is really in the middle of the book, and Jim has always said the decisions happens at the end.
Right.
So, I mean, it is a possibility, but I just don't think it's the more likely one. I think the decision is whether he chooses Susan over hundreds of people who could die, or he chooses all the other people instead of Susan.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing that kind of makes it less certain, I think, is because, you know, he approaches it as this big pivotal decision, right? Like he makes this huge decision. It's like, yeah, kinda, but in the moment, it's not even a decision. It's just who Harry is, right? He's like, they're like, what, you would start a war over a girl? And it's like, you know, for one girl, for one life, there's no other reason to fight a war, type of thing. I mean, paraphrased, obviously, but, you know, and so for him, it's just Dresden, you know, it's just natural. And then he reaches for power, you know, unleashing the spirits and stuff like that. And so, you know, I guess the decision, I mean, it kind of happens before that. Like, I don't know. Before that, in the sense that in order of operations in that moment, you know, whether he takes their deal or not, I guess, is the decision in my mind. But it always seems like there's this huge mystery and people are still trying to figure it out. And there were two things that while I was reading it this last time that was like, man, it'd have to be one of these two things.
Oh no, who's this new person?
What up? Not late.
Oh no, you're definitely late. You're fashionably late to the party.
Wizard.
Technically, I can show you my clock. It says it's I'm right on time.
We got daylight savings
next week.
But to be fair, if he's a wizard, he didn't arrive late nor early, but precisely when he meant to.
I meant to. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. I want you to meet our newest podcast guest is Sue.
Oh, hi. Shit, can I ride her? I meant that in a non-sexual way.
Oh, that was too perfect.
So what's up? What are we talking about? I heard there's some Halloween stuff, some Bianca's party, some where are we?
Well, now we're talking Bianca's party and Mirror Mirror.
Okay. What are we on right now? Catch me up. What is the current conversation topic?
What's the decision that Harry makes at the end that's going to trigger or be the focal point or pivotal point for Mirror Mirror?
So for someone who doesn't follow obsessively, can someone give me a quick rundown on what we know about Mirror Mirror?
So have you seen Star Trek?
Which one?
Like, have you seen any of their Mirror Mirror episodes? Like every season or every show, basically, they had a Mirror Mirror episode.
Voyager's Mirror Mirror was cool. I like that one.
Yeah, like the classic TOS episode with, like, you know, Spock and then evil Spock. You could tell because he had a goatee. Okay. Like we're hamming it up. You know, twirly mustaches, goatees, eye patches, the whole 9 yards. Like Butcher said, look, I'm stealing the title. I'm definitely stealing the tropes. It's going to be a thing. Beyond that, some of the consensus is turned to, like, it's not, I mean, as the name implies, mirror, mirror, right? But for Dresden, it's specifically the difference of he made one choice different in Grave Peril at the end of Grave Peril, and that kind of created this other darker, path.
All right.
I mean, the most obvious answer is like he didn't go to, like he gave Susan up.
Right. And that's kind of what we were talking about, and I'd thrown a wrench in the mix because there's also a significant decision a little bit earlier in the book where Michael decides he's going to go get the sword back, hell or high water, and then Harry kind of has to decide to support him or not.
See, I don't really think that was much of a decision because, like, in that moment, Harry was like, oh, they wrote it on my fucking gravestone. He died doing the right thing. I'm stuck doing this. And so it wasn't a decision for him. He just had to do it anyway.
Well, and that's what I say about the Susan thing. Like, when you read it, it's not, Harry's not like, well, if I do this, we're going to die. Because, like, there are other moments, right, where he has to decide if he's going to turn tail and run or he's going to stay and fight. Like, even in Grave Peril earlier, he does that with Charity. That he can give, like, it's either he can give Charity up or give the sword or something like that, and he can run, but he does the hero thing. And so there are points where he agonizes over that, but Grave Peril at the end, he's like, why? There's no other thing I could do. So
I just like the way, if we assume also Harry was up until that point the same Harry, how could he ever make a different choice?
Yeah, exactly.
For the record, though, I like E.G.'s Eldest Gruff's little thing. So he calls him Nega Harry, if you're familiar with, like, Scott Pilgrim and all the other stuff. But yeah.
I know Nega Duck from Darkwing Duck.
There you go. So, yeah, negative, whatever, I'm sure. But, yeah. So yeah, all to Harry, Nega Harry, whatever. But yeah, so I think the thing that carries the most weight and makes the most sense is whether or not Susan gets left behind, so to speak. But it just, in the moment, it's not an agonizing decision. He's like, what the hell else am I supposed to do? Yeah. So of course I'm going to throw down with the monsters.
I remember his decision about Susan being more agonizing than that. I mean, I haven't read that book recently, but it always seems like there's a couple of pages when they're convincing him, like, you have to do this, and it doesn't even need to be that bad because, yeah, we'll let you see her. And I mean, it's already happening anyway. She's already half vampire. But he's still, like, just kind of being quiet. And that's where he's agonizing. And then he says, get your hands off my girlfriend.
Yeah, that's
another decision, right? Like that the one decision was going to save Susan, another one is joining up with the vampires.
Well, yeah, because the part that you're thinking, and I didn't take it necessarily agonizing, was I'm going to see if I can pull it up here, but basically they just straight up, they're like listing all the things that he's done and that it can be forgiven, right? So we've got for this slight, for that slight, we'll ignore that. For this, that, and the other thing, we'll ignore that. And then he's like, and they're like, so what do you think about that deal? And he's like, how could I possibly argue, or something along those lines? And then it's like, but because you killed what's her face, because I'm a stupid bitch and have no self-control, which is really the whole point of this. I felt like that was always a little forced for my part. I'm going to keep your girlfriend, your love. So let's see.
So you thought it was forced that Bianca felt bad that the girl died?
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding? So the girl shows up, right? Harry has a conversation with her. Bianca loses her shit for no fucking reason. I mean, I sort of see it, right? Like, Harry could be the killer. And so she attacks him. But his whole, like, Jesus fucking Christ, lady, I just came here to talk, might have been a clue. And then because she lost her shit and he had to use the napkin to get away from her, she eats her assistant because there weren't, 900 other people in her building she could have eaten. It had to be that girl right now. And then, of course, it's somebody near and dear to her heart, so she holds a grudge for 2 fucking books. And then that's the whole reason. So in the last 2 books, she got all this power, got trained by Mavra, reached out to Ortega. Like, all of this shit over one girl. She's a fucking vampire. How many hundreds of victims does she have? She's never eaten somebody close to her before.
I get the impression Bianca's pretty young, but even so, like, would a vampire really care that much?
I mean, maybe she was being pushed into it. Like, it seems pretty obvious that the Red Court is being manipulated by the Black Council. And maybe if Cowell and Komori were at her party, maybe they were pushing her to react that way.
You assume Cowell and Komori's in the Black Council.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. That's such a huge leap these days. So with him showing up, in White Knight and claiming to be from the Circle and, all that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so basically they do kind of go back and forth for about a page. And then at the end, let's see. So this is the clincher, just to read it since I've got it here. But, of course, this is in the middle of the whole thing. So if we want to go for full context, just let me know. But so let's see. I'm going to start with the whole. She smiled. You killed someone very dear to me, Mr. Dresden. Not directly true, but your actions mandated her death. Bullshit. For that, too, I will forgive you. I narrowed my eyes, this being Harry, of course. Bianca ran her hands over Susan's hair. This one will stay with me. You stole away someone dear to me, Mr. Dresden, and I am going to take away someone dear to you. After that, all will be equal. She gave Ortega a very small smile and then glanced at me and asked, well, what say you? If you prefer to remain with her, I'm sure a place could be made for you here, after suitable assurances of your loyalty, of course. AKA turning him, I'm sure. That's my logic anyway. And then I remained silent for a moment, stunned. So I guess there is some kind of contemplation. And then it's, well, wizard, she snapped harsher. How do you answer? Accept my bargain, my compromise, or it is war, and you will become the first casualty. So I looked at Susan. She stared blankly, her mouth partially open, caught in a trance of some kind. Blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to get to the part that's fun, actually. So, let's see. I heard all over. I felt very damn tired. I love her, I said. I didn't say it very loud. What? Bianca said to me. What did you say? I said, I love her. She is already half mine, so I still love her. She isn't even fully human any longer, Dresden. It won't be long before she's a sister to me. Maybe, maybe not. Get your hands off my girlfriend. Bianca's eyes widened. You are mad, she said. You would flirt with chaos, destruction, with war, for the sake of this one wounded soul? I smote my staff on the floor, reaching deep for power, deeper than I've ever reached before. Outside of the gathering morning, the air crackled with thunder. Bianca, even Ortega, looked abruptly uncertain, looking up and around before focusing on me again. For the sake of one soul, for one loved one, for one life. I called my power to my blasting rod, and its tip glowed incandescent white. The way I see it, there's nothing else worth fighting a war for. So it's like, they riposte, but he doesn't hesitate at that
not
point.
really at all.
Maybe by then he's already made the decision. So
again, and if we're talking Nega Harry being this, up until the point of the decision, how could he ever be like, okay, sure, it sounds tempting, I'm gonna join you guys, hey?
Yeah, I just don't see that being a decision.
Well, and that's kind of where I think, but that's the pivot, right? Is that, he decides to take her deal or not, in which case certain assurances are made where they turn him, and that's why I think one of the leading theories is Count Harry, as opposed to just he went dark and went crazy because they got Susan,
I mean, I could see them also making it certain assurances without him being turned, but most likely he would be turned if he were to join up.
Sure, right. Like, theoretically, Ortega could do that. The other thing that I thought was interesting on the reread, though, right, is that it's pretty obvious, and Harry says it, that the whole thing is kind of, it's a feint in a way, right? They're sort of trying to kick off the war, and then later on it's discussed that pretty much they were going to do it anyway. But very clearly, it seems like Bianca's like, holy shit, no, man, we didn't want to start a war. Not like really, really, which I thought was kind of interesting because she's like, you're fucking crazy, kid. Like, yeah.
Maybe she thought starting a war was a bad idea, but the higher ups was like, yeah, that's great.
Right. Well, it's also interesting, though, because if you go to Death Masks, for example, Ortega's the one suing for peace, right? So it feels like even the Red Court was manipulated into it in a way, which is kind of interesting. Or at least maybe the lower, like Ortega's kind of a lord instead of like the Lord's Outer Night, for example. But anyway, that was a lot of words.
Yeah, you got kind of theatrical.
I tried. It's a big fucking deal to me. Like, come on, it's like go read the Stone Table and Changes and tell me that you can just try and read it in a monotone. Like, you got to try and,
I only ever had Masters read it to me.
Right, I know. And I'm not Marsters. I'm sorry, guys. If your ears are bleeding, I'm not Marsters.
That's a tough.
Yeah.
Up to.
I mean, I'm not an actor. I'm not professionally trained. I'm just a dude who feels
You're
very
just a dinosaur.
passionate about Dresden Files. Yep. I'm just a dinosaur.
It's Dino.
Just a simple 65 million year old corpse. Reanimated corpse. Anyway.
Yeah, you're looking pretty good there for 65 million years old.
Zombie. If I was a
Get those
skeleton,
skin.
I'd just be like pearly whites.
You get those are pretty pearly whites, I'll be honest.
Mm.
Skeleton's not really pearly white though. That's why there's like something called bone white.
Well, yeah, but I mean, pearly whites. Just.
Yeah, okay.
But you've been watching Stranger Things, right? It's like, come on.
Right.
I actually have not seen.
Are there any other decisions that Harry might have made?
Well, so in Grave Peril, sure, but I think towards the end, like you start to get into you could say, does he go on the rescue mission or not at all? That could be a decision. Does he
That's
decide?
what I was thinking. Maybe that.
Right.
Go.
I don't think so. I think that one's way too specific, like set in that they are going to, because it's not just Harry, it's also Thomas going after Justine, and Michael needs the sword back. There's too much there.
I mean, imagine though.
Or, well,
imagine.
No, Michael got the photography of
He
Thomas.
says no to Thomas. That he never forms his bond with Thomas. Maybe never learns Thomas is his brother. Could that send him down a more dark path?
Well, and the brother thing doesn't happen for 3 more books, right?
But that's where maybe it's because Dresden says, fuck you, no. Thomas is like, I never want to, like, I mean, they just don't really interact anymore. Thomas doesn't try to connect.
Sure. And that's definitely one of the ripples, one of the repercussions that you could kind of expect. And that's where it's like, you could definitely go through the next, 12 books and kind of reevaluate how each of those would play out, because it's not going to be a mirror image, right? Harry's not going to be suddenly left-handed or whatever. It's going to be this one decision and the ripples that float out from there. So he's still going to have ties with Marcone on some level, but presumably he never soul gazes with Thomas, or if he does, it happens way later down the line. Maybe he moves himself away from Murphy. Maybe he never cuts a deal with Mab in the first place. So, he doesn't do the Winter Night thing because he's a vampire instead, or something along those lines.
Hello.
I mean,
right.
One of the biggest what ifs is like, what about Maggie?
Right.
It would never be born, maybe even.
Or maybe she is. Maybe there's a different form of Maggie that's also going to cause Harry to agonize when he gets into Mirror Mirror,
Oh, Jesus. Well, and I mean, that's kind of an open question for the Dresden verse, because we don't know if the Reds can reproduce normally. We know half vampires can, but yeah.
And so then there's the question is like, how long does she stay half vampire? Is she still alive? If there's Maggie and Susan's still alive, then there wasn't ever the bloodline curse that they were trying.
Well, and that's a fair point too, right? So because like half the reason for the bloodline curse and really the whole catalyst in that regard, but also it'd have to go through Dresden from that angle. And since he's on their team, it's probably just never...
I think it's really hasty to say he would be on their team. I think he'd just be trying not to get the war started. And then, become more corrupted at that point. Because I believe Jim has said that the reason that our Harry gets pulled into it is because Nega Harry needs to make it look like he's dead. So
he's been using other universes to fake his death. Yeah.
Yeah, because the White Council is after him.
Right.
So whatever is going on, I don't think that he's going to be pro Red Court.
Does
but
Mirror
he's an outcast on all sides?
But Harry, Nega Harry coming here, and as far as I understand it, our Harry going to the Negaverse. Does that count as time travel? Since it's been said Harry will break all the laws. I mean,
No.
it's alternate universes, alternate timelines. Is that swimming against time?
What you really should cook your noodle. So I'm going to say no. But what will really cook your noodle is, does this count as seeking power from beyond the gates? Because does the alternate universe consist inside the same bubble as our universe is as far as the gates are concerned? Or are there alternate versions of Mab and he's basically going across 2 walls to get there instead of staying inside the 1 wall?
Actually, this is just how the universe is screwed together in the rest of the world. It's like outside, it's like completely outside our reality. And the alternate timelines are still within our reality.
So Mab is protecting all realities, including the alternate reality.
All maps and all alter maps are protecting all realities. Like there's more than one map. There's more than one Never Never.
So it's just one giant wall, and she's just responsible for this one little section of the wall instead of the whole thing.
You could interpret it that way. Sure.
I think there's the possibility that Mab in alternate universes aren't the ones that defending the gates. I think it could still be under the Norse gods. It could be anything different. If there are millions and uncountable alternate universes, timelines, and all that.
Like in each reality, there's an entrance to our world, our connected worlds, and each reality has a guardian faction. It doesn't have to be Mab.
Yeah.
Sure. And I mean, this one is just shades different than ours, though, right? So for simplicity's sake, we're talking about it's still going to be the Winter Court defending the wall because it's Harry's decision that made the world different. And they've been defending the wall since well before Harry was born. Yeah. Unless you go down the time travel route, and then in which case fucking anything goes, man. So...
time travel, everything. There's time travel involved. It's anything goes.
Well, because there's definitely a lot of vocal theories, if not well supported. I'm not going to judge or anything like that. But if Harry is time traveling and shows up as XYZ character, then presumably Alterna Harry has the same opportunity unless our Harry straight up kills him, right? So in Mirror Mirror, if Alterna Harry goes to the future or Nega Harry goes to the future and those time travel things are legit, then he'll go back in time and change it, and it could be a different faction on the wall. Or because of things that have changed in the last decade while he's been Nega Harry, he put a different faction on the wall because we don't know what that looks like. And that could be something that we see, is that it was Mab until, about 2 years after the fact when Harry made the change.
We found. I guess I guess it is, since Harry's this very closely related alternate universe is because Harry made a different choice. Does that mean that we're following like the one I learned from Stargate, where it's each decision that you can make, you make every possible decision you can, and it like forks off to new realities?
Yeah,
correct.
That's a popular theory for how alternate splits happen is at the decision points, which is how this one happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And loads and loads of sci-fi. I mean, one of the other popular ones from the 90s that comes to mind is like Sliders, right? So they specifically talk about Einstein-Rosen bridges and stuff like that because, leading guys who talked about the multiverse theory and the fact that like every decision point, I mean, really, it's even simpler than that. Every time you flip a coin, both outcomes happen. They just happen in different universes.
But
right?
if that's the case, doesn't that mean that even if you take the one decision that made Nega Harry, every decision that character made after that point creates a new...
Yeah, this is why they're infinite alternate.
Right. And we've got to focus on the one.
So which one we're dealing with? There's infinite of them.
We're dealing with the one that decided to fuck up and summon our Harry. And
but
maybe there's a way that he's the fix isn't necessarily defeating Nega Harry, it's consolidating the universes or whatever. Like there's once again an unlimited number of resolutions and problems that we could face and that sort of thing as well.
that's why I hate going into that topic.
Well, it's the three that I think really kind of derail you if you're not careful are mental manipulation, which he did in Deadbeat really heavily with Lash. Then you've got your multiverse theory, which we're going to get into. And as far as I'm concerned, yet as unseen is the time travel one, which I think is still going to shape itself up in the future, right? And maybe even save until the BAT. But either of those, once you open that can of worms, anything can happen.
I feel like time travel is a bit diluted if you already moved into multiverse, because it kind of...
Someone still needs to fix Little Chicago.
Right.
The time travel is 100% Harry fixing Little Chicago and probably doing some other stuff too, where he's like, "Oh, it was me who did it, so now I have to do this."
Someone ran Harry off the road at the beginning of Proven Guilty. Someone is following Harry around in Proven Guilty, and Mouse is like, And then there's the Little Chicago getting fixed, and it's like that.
It's
too
one
perfect.
Harry, we learn is it's Thomas.
No.
Well,
because I don't think so. I think Thomas was just kind of being there because otherwise Thomas was out being a hairdresser and a security guard.
I think there's two things. Like, to me, those aren't these huge mysteries that need to be answered, and maybe it's my own headcanon. But I thought the trying to run Harry off the road was definitely Magical or his assistant, because I think they talk about that when they finally caught him in Proven Guilty, and they were like, when they were putting him on eBay, and they were like, well, we would have done this earlier if you hadn't gotten messy and tried to take him out too early. And then I think the following him thing was Thomas.
Before, where you thought the same thing, and we looked up on it, and it was not right. Like, they don't mention him getting rid of.
Well, there's an alternate universe where I am right. Okay.
Yeah,
so.
Sorry, alternate
There's
universe.
also an alternate universe, and in fact, there are countless alternate universes where I'm Batman. Could you imagine Dinosaur Batman? How cool would that be? So is that 3 times I've broken you, director?
Probably. Really enjoying the dinosaur. So we got something that's kind of fun, hopefully fun. I haven't looked at the questions yet, but to end with is that one of our helpful behind the scenes people linked me to a bunch of questions that was done previously, a bunch of trivia and like a Jeopardy something or other. But one of the things that Colin is doing is he's going to be our trivia master.
I'm Alex Trebek.
Yes.
That's what I'll
Trebek.
Sean Connery.
All right. So he's going to ask the rest of us questions or something, and we'll see if we can get them right.
For the trivia, I am not going to read you the multiple choice answers because there's 3 of you and you should figure it out.
Okay.
Okay, so we were working together, not against each other.
No, but you don't need the help.
Is one of the answers your mother's a whore? Sorry, still on that kick, but
I'll take S words for 500.
Shh.
Or sword, sorry. Backwards.
How specific do we have to be, or is it like an approximate? Like,
here,
okay, that's close enough.
So I'll just start off.
We're experts. Be
specific answers. Who killed Murphy's partner, Carmichael?
The Lugaroo.
Right.
I don't remember his name, but I was supposed to say Lugaroo.
Harley McFinn.
Might as well go down the list. Who laid the curse on Harley McFinn's ancestor?
St. Patrick.
Yeah, I was going to say St. Patrick and didn't go look that answer.
Didn't go quick enough.
How do books does it just go up to?
So this is the first 2.
I skipped
3 questions for each.
That's what you get for skipping, because you're wrong.
You fucking heathen. Read the first 2 books.
Which of these names is not... Oh, I'm going to have to read you the answers on this one. Which of these names is not in Toots' gossip chain in Stormfront?
Oh, yeah.
Mago Aspens, Peace Blossom, Red Nose, or Golden Eyes?
Red Nose.
Red Nose.
Yeah, it's a Red Nose.
Wrong. All 3 of you.
Damn.
Peace Blossom.
Peace Blossom? Yeah, that was... Yeah.
All right. Grey Pale and Summer Night. So this is actually very on point. What does Susan dress up as for
Red
Young
Riding Hood.
Masquerade?
Woo!
A cheering director, Alex.
This one's very easy. This isn't trivia. This is like, did you catch a major fucking plot point? What is the name of the senior council member who dies at the Red Court Assault on Archangel?
Simon Petrovich.
Thank you.
Who's
What is-
totally
I
Cal.
was having trouble remembering his last name.
Right?
What is the real life source of the Summer Knight's name?
J.R.R. Tolkien.
Family name, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got
Ronald Rule.
Death Masks and Blood Rights. Who disguises himself as Father Vincent?
Cassius.
Which one? Yeah, Cassius. I was also just on Amshield for some reason, even though I knew it was Cassius.
Which Genarian is likely responsible for killing the Knight of the Cross known as the Egyptian?
Ooh.
Wasn't that Thorn Shield?
No.
Or Magog.
No.
Hmm.
Would
I
you
mean,
Ursil.
I could list them.
Ursil, yes.
Ursula, yeah, Ursula mentioned it. Okay.
Okay.
What does Thomas tell Lara he reads to Justine at bedtime?
Machiavelli.
Yep.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Deadbeat and proven guilty. Which of the following is not one of the Carpenter girls? Hope,
Ooh,
Faith, Margaret, or Amanda?
Faith.
Correct.
Huh.
Guys,
I was totally going to say Margaret because, spoiler alert, that's later. But...
Molly.
Molly's.
Oh, yeah, that's right. God damn it.
who was the convention chair for SplatterCon?
What's her name?
Fuck.
Fuck.
Nope.
Okay, we have options.
We do have options if you need them.
I'd like to phone a friend.
I was going to say, should we start having lifelines?
Right.
Clark Pell, Drea Becton, Rosie Marcella, or Sandra Marling?
Sandra.
Yep.
Yeah.
God, you guys have read these books too much.
Nerds.
What? What is the name of the grad student whose body Corpse Taker and later Lucio inhabits?
Oh,
Alicia Nelson.
nice.
Why are you so fast?
I knew that one. I do have the answer.
Well, you're reading. I was like, you're reading the damn answers. Hopefully, you know all of them.
How does Harry likest his donut?
With white and sprinkles, frosting white sprinkles.
And no jelly.
Can you
No
say
doubt.
it correctly though?
Right.
With sprinkles and frosting of white. I think he had said it.
With sprinkles and a
Right.
frosting of white, yeah.
Sprinkles?
What's thou like jelly with thy donut?
Nay.
I always
What
look when I
language-
see donuts now. I have to see
Right.
if they have one.
Oh yeah, I staple.
What language does Molly use in her shielding spell?
Japanese.
I was going to say
Right.
Greek.
That's one of the answers, but no,
No kidding.
Greek.
Thought it was.
not Greek.
Does she use Latin,
Russian.
McCary? Sometimes
Russian?
she steals it.
No.
Fuck. What is she?
Well, there's only like 11,000 more languages to go. So
It's a major language.
right.
So it's not Greek. It's not Russian. Which like?
Is
I-
it?
I
Well,
want to say Egyptian, but that
okay, you guys have hit all three of the non-right answers. I can no
Awesome.
longer read you the right answer.
Okay, tell us what book it's from.
What?
It's either White Knight or Small Favor.
Right. Small favor probably because that's the snowballs. So and the gruffs.
Oh yeah. Ah, crap.
I don't even
I
remember.
don't
the word.
remember what she
I
said.
remember the scene and
language?
like
Mhm.
Harry getting dumped snow down his thing.
Actually, I don't know if it's one of the most common languages or not, but
Oh.
it's possibly one of the most common languages in the country, in the world.
That would be Chinese then.
No.
What's the next most populous country?
India.
Now, what are some of their languages?
Hindu? Is that a
Hindi.
language? Hindi?
Yes.
Oh, she uses Hindi, huh? Shit.
Apparently.
Why?
Yeah.
Go us for being
Why?
oblivious to that. So yeah.
Yeah. Which of these members of the Ordo survives White Knight? Jessica, Maria, Abby, or Pauline?
Abby survives.
Yes, she does.
Hmm.
Turncoat and changes. Oh, this only goes up to Turncoat and changes.
Right.
What sponsor hides Morgan from the council's radar in Turncoat?
The summer court.
The summer court? Yeah.
Mhm.
I would say Harry, but
Which member of the summer court?
So
Titania.
Like, the summer
Summer
court. Yeah, right. Like
I
the
don't
president of the United States.
Who delivers Lucio's message to Harry when she's taken out of play and changes?
Chandler.
Yes.
bowler hat guy.
Which of these animals is not among the forms Injun Joe takes during his encounter with the Skinwalker?
Ooh.
Falcon, brown bear, snapping turtle, or flying squirrel?
Snap.
I don't think he was a snapping turtle,
Right.
but I also can't think he was a flying squirrel.
He was a squirrel.
He was a squirrel? Okay, I'm going to snapping turtle then.
Anyone
I'm gonna
else?
let you have it. Go for it.
Falcon.
Because I agree. Falcon.
He was
So he was an eagle then?
Yeah, he was some form of hawk or bird of
some
prey.
sort of
form.
bird.
Yeah.
So you guys want the Jeopardy
Okay.
too?
Hmm?
Would you like the Jeopardy too?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, apparently these have. Should I run this like an actual Jeopardy game or just run down
Yeah.
them?
So you read the answers and we have to give you the question, right?
No, but should I have you actually try to pick categories and stuff? Because there's
Buzz
actual
in.
categories and stuff.
That takes too much brain power to remember what the hell they are right now, so you
So
just
we're
give
on-
it to us.
Characters.
My
next.
brain is the size of a pea. I think you can keep up. Well, peanut, but whatever.
Something that looked like an errant spark from a campfire. I peered more closely at it and could just barely make out a tiny form inside, no larger than an ant. Another fairy.
What is
Elodie?
Elodie.
Oh, nice.
two? She didn't say what is.
Suck
He
it,
killed-
Trebek.
No, I'm telling you to suck it. He
You don't
killed
want to tell him to
Mysterio.
do that. He's got all those teeth.
Yes, but he's also separated from me by several thousand, or I don't know how many miles, but enough for me to
Yeah,
feel
but that's
comfortable.
like 3 steps, man. Don't push your luck.
He killed the stereo and got out. A small cloud of smoke emerging from him. With him, sorry. It wasn't cigarette smoke. He wore tight blue jeans and a black t-shirt with a Buffy the Vampire Slayer logo. The laces to one of his combat boots were untied, and he carried a bottle of scotch in his hand. He pulled
Who
from
is
his shirt.
Thomas?
You can't answer before he's done.
Yeah, you can.
Wait,
kids.
yes, you can.
Yeah.
He was short and
I knew,
overweight.
like, I don't know how long ago.
Well, then answer. He was short and overweight and balding, with beady, bloodshot eyes.
Mortimer?
And
Who is Mortimer? Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
No. The
he
other
was short
Carmichael.
and Carmichael. Yes.
Yeah, good job.
Carmichael had
Hell,
Buffy the Vampire
I mean,
Slayer?
there's like 3.
No, that was the last one.
Hmm.
Hailed as a visionary of the American artistic culture, creator of worlds of imagination.
Who is Ronald Rule?
Yeah. Who
Alright.
is Tolkien?
The terror of the Midwest arcane willed to face me in her face.
Who is Susan
Who is Susan Rodriguez?
Rodriguez? Yeah.
No.
What?
Who
Oh,
is
who is
the journalist from
Broke into a
SplatterCon.
terrific grin. She was a little over 5 feet tall, pleasantly plump, and of Asian ancestry. She had a sparkling smile,
Oh,
thick
sh-
glasses, curly black hair, and was wearing
remember her name?
denim overalls over an old Queensryche t-shirt.
like Brenda or something?
Her tennis shoes had bright pink
Brand
laces on
or
them.
something like that.
Uh,
God damn, do something really.
Description's not going to help us peg to the name, unfortunately. So,
That's all you got.
yeah.
Lydia Stern.
Oh,
Lydia Stern.
Ooh, so you get these are quotes, and
nice.
you've got to identify the speaker and the book it was set in.
Oof.
Okay, I'm on.
But the bleep part would make her lose control.
What?
Who is Molly in Death Masks?
Correct. God damn.
Oh, nice.
Dresden, we have a bit of a banter going between us. We're both here in a moment where neither of us wants to act rashly, and that's all good fun. It's one of the little things that makes a day more enjoyable.
Don't remember the book. Fuck. Who is Binder in
Turncoat.
Turncoat?
Yes.
Yeah, because he only shows up in Turncoat and Skin Game. So,
I've not sacrificed a holy virgin in ages.
Who is Nicodemus?
No.
Sounds like Nicodemus.
Not Nicodemus.
I
Have
want
not
to see.
sacrificed.
Wow.
Can I say it again?
I've not sacrificed a holy virgin in ages.
Mavra in Grave Peril?
No.
Damn it. Because she was about to do it to Lydia.
Right.
And she's not a virgin.
That seems to be a key aspect of the
Mm.
Oh, it's Leah though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is Leah. I can't remember when.
So-
It's the
So
first
is it
one
Leah
she
in
said.
Grave Peril?
Leah in Changes.
Leah in Changes.
Oh, there you go. Good job.
Man,
Ha. That was
team
hard.
effort. You're breaking and entering. We're going to jail.
Butters and
And but,
Deadbeat it is.
Nice.
I suppose I've had enough breakfast.
Nicodemus and Death Masks.
God fucking damn it, you guys.
Good job. Yeah.
This is just miscellaneous now. I can't believe you guys actually got every single one of those. Who was
Eventually.
Shiro expecting to meet when he converted to Christianity?
Who was who expecting to be?
Elvis.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Would you say
Andre's got it.
Elvis?
Elvis. Yeah.
What thaumaturgically imbued device do Harry and Susan follow
A
to
Snoopy
find?
dog. No?
Nope.
Sorry. I'll
Find
let
the
you finish this time.
Marcone's Gala.
What? You need to start over. I like
What thaumaturgically? Yeah, good enough.
Yeah,
Imbued
yeah.
device do Harry and Susan follow to find the shroud at Marcone's Gala?
Oh,
A duck. A wound duck.
Wind up duck.
Nice. Okay.
What prank does 14-year-old Molly pull on Sonia in Death Masks?
Is Prince Albert in a can? Better let him out
Right.
to all those
What kind of prank is
convenience
that?
stores.
Crank calls.
A phone prank?
Prank phone calls.
Okay.
By what method does Charity threaten to kill Harry in proving guilty?
Ooh.
Oh, she threatens him so many ways.
I know, right?
It's one of my favorite historical events.
John Porter. Oh, different
Crucify him?
historical event?
What'd you say, Andreas?
Crucify?
That'd be pretty
No.
sacrilegious for Charity.
I mean, if she's mad.
Right.
It's a famous event that took place in Prague.
Defenestration.
Yep.
Wow.
According to
This is why she's the boss. So
I mean, I'll throw you out the fucking window. Apparently.
Yeah.
According to Ebenezer, what does his old truck run on?
He doesn't know. He just lets it outside to eat something once in a while.
He
Yeah.
turns it loose to hunt down dinner for itself.
right.
What's in a name is this next category.
Okay.
What alias does Madrigal Wraith take in proving guilty?
Ah, shit.
Darby Crane.
Darby, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Who is known as Leech?
Alicia.
Alicia, yeah.
Carpenter.
Yep.
Nice.
We learn in Blood Rights that Lara Wraith married briefly. What was her married name?
Romano.
Oh, shit.
Close. Very, very close.
Romani. Something
Romani.
like that.
Yeah. Okay.
What is
I
the
was like,
name?
fuck, I just read that one too.
What is the name of the baby Harry and Michael saved from Agatha Hagglethorne?
Fuck.
Amanda Summer something.
Somerset.
You had some of the words and some of the right vowels in there.
Mm.
Anybody?
I literally also just read that book, but nope. I'm
Can you ask again? Fuck, I
What
got
is the name of the baby Harry and Michael saved from Agatha Hagglethorne?
Oh, fuck. I have no idea.
right.
Anne Summers.
Ah, right.
You had pieces of it.
Hmm.
See, I'm still waiting for her to show back up because, like,
Last
talk
question.
about a Hail Mary.
Literally the last question. In Lord Wraith's Hall of Paintings of Women Who Bore Him Children, Harry notes the name of a woman from the 16th or 17th century. What was her name?
Holy shit.
Fuck me.
Now we're actually getting to questions that,
Yeah, that's trivia.
Fuck.
I'm tossing in a white towel for me.
Yeah, I got nothing.
I think it was like something like Sylvanas or something silvery sounding, I think. I could be making that up because I remember thinking it had to have been Lara's mother.
Amelia Alexandria Salazar.
Oh, Salazar.
I got a letter right.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of on the right track. And that's all of our trivia. And Jeopardy. You guys
That
are
was-
with us.
Fun.
Yeah, that's
That wasn't even challenging.
no,
I
it
mean,
was good. I mean, I
One of these-
recognize the answer sometimes.
I'm just gonna take the book, flip open to a random page, and ask you what word was the 36th word on that page.
No, don't do it.
Because I read on Kindle now. I don't know what page is on what.
Kindle has pages.
Yeah,
I
but
would
they're
be
all
calling up the
different
Kindle
sizes,
version too.
different
So
fonts and so, I mean, if you wanted to do that, just like who said this in whatever book, or like, yeah,
yeah,
we could do this again. It was fun. Colin, you have an assignment to do it again.
I have the assignment to read the books
Well, you
again.
need to
so I
make
can-
new Jeopardies for Dresden Files. That's your job.
Yeah.
Right, or we could reach out to Priscilla because she posted the list. I don't know if she fully came up with it, right? So she
Yeah.
posted it on the forums, but
Yeah, she's good.
What is Harry's full name? Oh God.
yeah,
Harry
okay.
Blackstone Copperfield Dresden.
Bill,
Yeah.
right? We've already got a Harry, so we got to call you Bill.
What Harry was named after? Was Harry named after Harry Potter?
No.
No.
Look, I like the books too, but I didn't run
Okay,
out
this
of
is
the
just
top
a
one to-
Goodreads. This is a Goodreads quiz.
Okay.
Where does Harry live?
Oh my
In
god.
Chicago?
Like, is this
Chicago?
did you read the book?
Hi.
How many
Uh,
children do the Carpenters have?
7.
9.
What is the name of the youngest Carpenter child?
Harry.
Harry.
Was he named after Harry Dresden?
Yes.
Yes. They agreed, just so you know.
What does Amanda Carpenter dub Harry Dresden as? They already have a Harry.
Bill.
Bill.
I
How
said
many
it
laws
like
of
5
magic
minutes
are
ago.
there?
Yeah.
How many what are there?
Laws of magic are there?
7.
7.
7, 8, 9, or laws? What laws?
Yeah.
Who were
We
the
don't
laws
need
of
no
magic
stupid badges.
supposedly created by?
The Merlin,
The Merlin, the first
The-
one.
It actually, that's the answer, is the Merlin.
right?
How many members are there on the Wizard Senior Council?
They have a
7.
thing with the number 7, so
It's a magic number. 3 and 7.
How old is Molly Carpenter when she discovers her magical talent?
15.
14, 15.
Yeah,
I don't think they
14 is what I was
specify.
gonna say.
Ooh, yeah, okay, these questions are too easy. I'm bored already.
Well, then there's an issue
They're not
is
very
that
difficult.
Molly skipped a year in age.
Who vouches
an
for
accident.
Harry at his hearing for breaking the laws of magic?
Ebenezer?
Ebenezer, yeah.
Who is Thomas Rafe in relation to Harry?
He's
his
a
brother.
hairdresser.
Roommate.
In relation to Harry Dresden?
Brother.
Roommate.
Yeah. My sister's dog's
Don't tell
former
anyone.
roommate.
What
does
kind
that
of
make
brother?
us? Brother?
Maternal brother.
That's fair. Maternal half brother is
Half brother. There we go.
yeah, the
What is
full
Molly Carpenter's full name?
Margaret, Amanda,
Margaret.
Catherine, Carpenter.
Catherine Amanda, apparently.
Catherine Amanda. Fuck.
well, geez.
What name is Jared Kincaid also known by?
The Hellhound?
Who is Kincaid employed to protect?
Ivy.
Archive?
Archive.
What does SI stand for?
Special
Special
Investigations.
investigations.
When did Harry first meet Karen Murphy? Chronologically.
The story?
I don't know the year, but I know
Yeah.
the story.
Story.
Yeah, this, a restoration of faith.
How did Karen Murphy's father die?
Suicide, supposedly.
Supposedly,
Which
yeah.
of the following
It
are
was a
all
suicide.
skills of Karen Murphy? Martial arts, sharpshooting, motorcycle riding. Martial arts, sharpshooting, gymnastics.
No,
Sharpshooting, motorcycle riding, acting. Motorcycle riding, martial arts, or baking.
A.
Yeah, A.
Martial arts, sharpshooting, and motorcycle riding.
I was like, I don't even need to hear the rest of this. Once you started gymnastics and baking, like, nope.
What is
Step
Tara West?
swing.
What is Tara West?
A wolf.
He's a wolf. A magic
Who
wolf.
was Harry's daughter named after?
His mother and her mother. As in Harry's and Susan's.
Both of their mothers?
Yeah, Margaret Angelica, named after both of their mothers.
Say that name.
Well, so here are the possible answers. Harry's godmother, Susan, Susan's mother, or Harry's mother.
Ugh. Because it was both of their mothers, therefore it's both those answers. That's annoying.
Yeah, so which one?
Is it really though? Like it was Susan's mom's name is Margaret too?
No, as in Angelica was her mother's name.
Oh,
Oh, I
Margaret
gotcha.
Angelica.
so
They're
Harry's
probably just going Margaret, so
he
yeah.
is known as. What's Harry's daughter's name?
Maggie.
Maggie?
Maggie. What is Toot
Is
Toot?
my name too.
What is
But it's too.
Is he a dewdrop fairy, a
Yes.
Demovoy, a
He's a dude or a
Oh
parent.
shit.
Demovoy, or A and B, or A and C.
Oh shit. So I think it's
He's a Polivoy, not a Domovoy.
right.
So,
So
A
A
and
Feeling
and,
C's up early.
A and C.
He gets very angry when he gets
What
older,
food
boy.
does Toot Toot love more than any other?
It's
Jolly
just-
Ranchers.
Okay. Was it? No. My pizza's on the way. Ooh. Are we led to like Rudolph?
Oh yeah, he's
Oh,
my
no.
No.
Rudolph the brown-nosing reindeer? No.
he's
What was
Murphy's
the main way
assistant.
that
now.
Samuel Peabody influenced the White Council?
He uses magical ink.
Which, by
did
the
it
way,
not?
I love that little thing on the subreddit that, like, oh, he killed Lafortier because Lafortier used his own pens.
Right.
Yeah, I thought that was like I missed that.
So the one, if you didn't see, there was a follow up. I don't remember when it was posted, but Harry did the same thing. So like when Harry refuses to sign for the paperwork, he
I got that when
inadvertently.
I went to the book the first
Yeah.
time.
I didn't. I was like, yeah, shit. For once, his like thumbing his nose at bureaucracy is not just him being an ass. It actually saved his life. So
We get
I mean, I got that when we got to the end, and he was using the ink. I was like, oh, when he was refusing, fuck.
nope, I'm slow.
Why did Inari Wraith never become a full vampire of the White Court?
Because she didn't have time to boink and then eat someone. She fell in love
I
first.
mean,
She found
Technically-
true love first.
we don't know that though.
And a White Court vampire only use sexual means to feed from their prey.
No, but
No.
it is the most common method.
What is Ferrovax?
Dragon.
He's
A centurion.
gnome. He's a gnome. The little bastards.
How many vampire courts are there that we know of? As of the end of Turco,
4.
Yeah, technically
Four.
4.
which vampire court did Harry have a big hand in eradicating?
The purple one.
Court.
Yeah, the purple
The
one.
Venatori Umbrorum are
The Shadow of the Hunters.
paranormal beings that fight with the darker aspects of the supernatural, paranormal beings that fight against the darker aspects of the supernatural, humans that fight with the darker aspects of the supernatural, humans that fight against the darker aspects of the supernatural.
D, I guess.
Yeah,
Humans that
Yeah.
fight against.
Yes.
Yeah.
How many living blood relatives do we know Harry has by the end of Ghost Stories?
How many what?
1,
Living
2,
blood relatives.
3.
Three. Harry's bestie, a
Yeah.
very horny and knowledgeable spirit encapsulated in a skull,
Also
Harry-
true.
potentially partially immortal Foo Dog, or Harry's alias.
Definitely Foo Dog.
Blue dog.
Who shoots Harry in changes?
The Foo Dog.
The Hellhound. Okay.
Who arranges Harry's shooting?
Harry and Molly.
What is a
Eh.
wraith? Capital Wraith. W-R-A-I-T.
With the W. Thank you. It's an evil ghost that's going to eat your face off.
How many seed queens are there at any one time? Counting
She.
both courts.
She.
She.
6.
Seriously, Marsters, get your shit together.
I don't listen. Who is this?
Yeah, he's a person who reads books.
guys as in White Knight.
How many? What?
What's the one?
Who is the Scavis? Scavis?
Priscilla.
Oh,
Priscilla. Crap. I gotta get my pizza. It's here.
oh no!
You got 40 out of 40 correct.
Yay!
Hey.
All right.
And that should probably be the end of this episode because we have gone
Alright.
over time in the celebration of
And
Halloween.
pizza's here.
And
Dresden.
pizza's here.
So
Yeah.
I really wish I had pizza right now.
You
Alright.
could.
No, because it's
Oh.
20 minutes past 12 and everything's closed at 10 here.
Ha! Welcome to America, where we can fucking have pizza.
You know, if I lived in the big city, I could get pizza now, but I don't, okay? I live in like a small town. We're like 25,000 people.
Hey, plug our stuff because I don't like doing it.
So your own podcast that you don't even like to plug
No.
is High Fantasy,
And we do talk a lot about Dresden, so I mean,
which is
there's a lot
funny
of
because
overlap.
not High Fantasy at all, right?
And Jacob is on it. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, but it. By the way, it's HI fantasy. It's in hi, how you doing fantasy. So
Whatever. That's
You're
that's
just
just
making that up
dumb.
right now.
yeah. That's just dumb. All right, the Great Scott podcast where they watch The Office. I mean, do they watch the British version?
I don't know. I doubt it.
Seriously.
They should.
Dangerous to go alone, and then The Long Haul.
Yeah. And they're something nerdy and video games.
It's weird.
I have
we
a
don't-
Twitch channel. I've actually been streaming since I got a new computer.
Ooh.
Twitch TV/Lord Batty. That's me, Lord Batty.
Lord Batty.
Yes. If you
Okay.
like World of Warcraft and High Mythic Plus keys, I'm your guy. If you don't, probably not for you.
All right. Well, that would be it for this part 3 Halloween. We kind of reached for it, but I mean, I had fun, so that's all that matters, right?
For sure.
Yeah. So, bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.